A bank that just holds your money? They just hold it? That's all they do? They don't re-lend it out. They don't rehypothecate it. They don't send it out to gamblers and thieves and banksters and politicians. They don't buy bonds with it. They don't buy mortgage-backed securities, houses. They don't buy other bad debt with it. It's just there. The money you put there, it's just there. Oh, that's incredible. That is truly incredible. What is going on, guys? Brandon here. The algorithm hates truth. So share everything that tickles your fancy, everything that puts the hair on the back of your head, back of your neck, up, standing straight up, share that out. Because that's probably hitting something in here we call intuition. Intuition. The 6 higher faculties Bob Proctor talks about all the time. Will, perception, imagination, reason, intuition, and memory. Those are the 6 higher faculties. No one else have them besides human beings. That's it. So we must use them. It's called intuition. It's called the gut. And I've got the answer. Banks that hold your money and keep it safe. What a phenomenon, Shamath. What a phenomenon. VC's gonna VC. You know? Let's roll. Let's roll. Because we got answers for you and we got a lot of people to save. And it's gone. If you ever heard of the South Park meme or seen the South Park meme when Kenny gives the guy, the banker, his cash and puts it in a money market mutual fund and it's gone 3 seconds later. He's like, what? I just gave it to you. Yep, yeah, I didn't do that well and it's gone. Well, guess what? That is the banking system. That is how the banking system works. End of the day, that is all it is. It's a casino. It's a gambling ring and they take your deposits. For all the banking and all the regulations that banks, or all the rules and regulations that banks have, don't you think the most important thing they should have to disclose is that, oh yeah, we're actually just a leveraged bond fund, as Lynn Alden calls it. We're a casino. We actually take your deposits and we go do whatever the hell we want with them. We just do whatever the hell we want. Don't you think that should be something that they tell you? Don't you think that should be one of the rules and the regulations? We're the most regulated industry. How come that's the one thing they don't have to tell you? Absolute clown world. And yet, so many people don't see it still. So many people just walking around, NPCs, non-playable characters in life, like, well, you know, the mainstream media, CNBC told me, you know, Grandpa Rick told me this. Get bent. Years ago, I remember my mother telling me a story of when she was a girl, a young girl. She told me that she would never forget the day when she learned about the banking system. She was told by one of the workers at the bank, when she was there one day with her parents, that they didn't keep her money in the bank. My mom was blown away. You can imagine a little girl just being appalled that the bank didn't have her exact dollars she deposited with them. She said, you're telling me that when I deposit those exact dollars, that exact $10 with you, you don't keep them in safekeeping for me until I return? Nope, says the bank. My mom said, are you serious? The bank, yep. At that moment, she learned that she became a creditor to the bank, and she no longer legally owned those dollars, which should be the one disclosure that the bank gives you. They don't even need to disclose anything else. There doesn't need to be any rules or regulations. That's it. Here, just disclose that to the customer, the depositor, and oh, that's right. Most women run the other direction. Not a good bank, not a good money-making policy, is it? When you are taking people's deposits and then going and lending them out and losing them. The dollars were gone, and the bank could legally do whatever they needed to do with them. As soon as you deposit cash in a bank, they are legally the bank's. And that is more than most people will ever know. That is more than most people will ever know about the banking system. Here's the important part. Full reserve bank versus a fractional reserve bank. Or money, I guess, somewhat interchangeable in a way. For this concept, I guess, if you will. So work with me here. Gold is equity. It's full reserve. You pay to store it and guard it because it is worth something and valuable. Banks and vaults don't lend it out to make money on it. Therefore, it costs you money through guards and vaults and security and technology, or ownership and insurance in your home, or with your own manpower and firearms to protect it. So it costs you something to protect it because it's actually worth something. It's actual equity, and it is full reserve. Gold is a store of value. It holds its monetary value over time, not through space, but over time. Therefore, it is money. Money has to be a store of value. A medium of exchange, unit of account, fungible, durable, portable, divisible, and a store of value. It has to be a store of value. Holding gold over time preserves your purchasing power. Therefore, it is money. The fiat dollar, so any fiat currencies, namely the dollar here, is debt. It's fractional reserve. So the banks use fractional reserve banking, and you have to get currency, get yield back on that. So why would I pay to store it if it's debt, right? If it gets lost, who cares? Who cares? It's debt. The currency is backed by neither gold nor Bitcoin, so it's not worth anything. The dollar must be run through the commercial banking system and lent out over and over to find yield, the interest rates that you get, the 0.01%, because fiat is debt. It is a liability, not an asset on your balance sheet. So you must find yield to offset the loss in the purchasing power you are accruing over time by letting the bank make more currency on your currency. Basically, a bank is for people that, which is the mass population, which is fine. They don't know how to make more value, make more currency, and make more money on their money. They don't know how to do it. So they put it in the bank, and the bank goes and does it for them. And they give them a little bit of interest. That's the system. It's just lending. It's just a lending. We see in real estate all the time with private money lenders and hard money lenders. People that understand how to make money can go take nothing and turn it into money. That's unfortunately something that everyone knows how to do, but unfortunately no one is taught how to do it. Very few people know how to do it. It's not passed down to them. And school ain't teaching you. School is not teaching you because they don't know how to do it. And they don't want people to be able to understand that concept. So every dollar in existence is owed back to the Federal Reserve with interest. Therefore, the fiat dollar is not money. Money must be a store of value. So fiat is currency. So read that all again. Incredibly, incredibly important. Bitcoin is equity. It is full reserve. Protected and guarded with encrypted energy. Again, has to take energy and power to do it and actually work. Moves over space and time at the speed of light, so there's no cost to holding, protecting, and using. Except miners or nodes using the energy to protect the system. So maybe the small amount you're using as a node to buy the node, a couple $100, or maybe the miners are the ones that are using the electricity, using energy to protect the system and accrue more Bitcoin. The benefits of both systems above with minimal drawbacks. The main drawback is that the world is hit by an asteroid the size of the moon and everyone's destroyed and killed and all tech is permanently destroyed. That is your risk with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a store of value. Therefore, it is money. Holding Bitcoin over time preserves or grows your purchasing power, or both. So again, here is one of my favorite drawings that I made. It's the simplest explanation of what is happening in our world. Money is a container for your time and energy. It's all it is. That's all it is. So what are you storing your time and energy in? That is the number one question every person has to ask themselves. What are you storing your time and energy in? You have your work, your time and energy, you pour it into a bucket. With sound money, there's no holes in it. Bitcoin is perfect. 21 million, never be more than 21 million, so perfectly finite. Gold and silver have a little bit of inflation rate, but they've shown to preserve pretty well over time. Broken money, which are fiat currencies, the dollar, yen, peso, bolivar, all of them, have a hole in the bucket. They have a hole in the container. So you pour your time and energy in, and when you are storing your wealth, your time and energy in that container, the fiat, any fiat, you are losing. It's just being sucked away and siphoned out while you sleep, while you're working, while you're at play. And that's why the average person has too much month at the end of their money and can't get ahead in life. And they wonder what's happening. Your time and energy is being stolen from you, counterfeited by the government, because it's not their money. Rights come from God, not from government. Money comes from people transacting with each other, not from government. So they take that from you indirectly, stealthily, through inflation. They steal it from you through this container, this hole in the container. Or they directly tax you. But it's hard to directly tax people everything they have, but they just do it through inflation instead. So they can hit you through both. Again, the Soviets, Stalin and Lenin knew you grind people through the millstone of taxation and inflation. That's how you kill entrepreneurship, freedom, capitalism, liberty, free markets, etc. Banks are inherently going to be against the protection of your currency. Banks are private entities using your currency to make more currency. They use financial arbitrage to take your hard work and re-lend it out once you deposit. This is called borrowing short from your deposits at low rates that you get, and then lending long. They lend them out then at higher rates through writing loans, auto loans, car loans, home loans, etc., and they make that spread in between. They must lend it out in order to get yield in your currency so they can make something and still turn around and give you interest on your deposits. Banks make you think it is safe in a vault with armed guards, when in reality, it's just digits in a computer. There's nothing there to guard. There's nothing there to arm because they re-lent it all out. And it's all digits on a computer. And the real thieves are siphoning your wealth away, like we just explained. The government millstones grind you through the millstones of taxation and inflation, siphoning your wealth away from you through inflation every second of every day, in plain sight. legally counterfeiting it, legally stealing it from you, because we let them. Then the banks created up around their services an entire industry of credit cards, then credit scores, and overdraft fees, annual fees, service fees, etc., continuing to enrich themselves when in reality they are using your currency. They're taking your currency and then charging you back fees on it. And you get paid taxes on this stuff, the interest that you make. I mean, it's just clown world. To shuffle the cash around, making fees off of each move. The most insidious part now is the commercial banking system is where 90% of the currency we have comes in through fractional reserve lending, meaning the banks have little to nothing on deposit, vault cash, actual cash on deposit, available. So when they loan cash out to you, bank credit, they just type digits in a computer, it just appears on a computer for a home or auto loan, they actually don't have any of the cash on hand. They create digits in the computer out of thin air that then you are charged interest on, the bank credit. They're charging you interest on something that's not even there. It gets worse because they have no currency saved up, and when people come to actually get their own cash back, it causes panic and bank runs because people realize there is nothing there and the bank collapses or gets bailed out. They don't have to pay the price for their poor decisions, and that's how we incentivize more bad behavior. Obviously, that people end up paying through inflation in the long term of some form, somehow, some way. Either way, banks get to rake in fees and interest and win. Either way, they make more cash in the short term and get bailed out in the long term. What an absolute racket! And as the Rothschild dynasty said, who created a lot of this, who created the banking system, the central banking, a lot of the global organizations we have now to protect their dynasty, Mayor Charles Rothschild, one of the heads, I believe, if not the head, said, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." Doesn't matter. You control the money, you control the world. If we fix the money, then we fix the world. Law of polarity, right? Has to be. Bank in the sky that just does its job? Oh, interesting. For anyone wondering how you get a bank in the sky to do just its job, like VC billionaire Chamath, the rug pull master, then look no further than the breakdown above. We have a monetary system that was created 14 years ago, rooted in code and law, not of men, unlike our systems of men and no rules currently. Be careful who you follow, though. Truly, the guy who is, and don't believe what I'm saying, go do your own research. Go do your own research. The guy who's laughing at people who is, the guy who is laughing at people who he is about to dump on and leave holding the bag. So the creator of Solana saying, oh, hey, now he's saying, well, we need a bank that just does its job. Yeah, guess what, Chamath? It's called Bitcoin. It's called the immutable, uncorruptible, digital, encrypted energy force monetary system that's being used to free the world from Africa to Thailand to El Salvador to America to the UK and everywhere in between, brother. But you just don't advise to see it because you're too worried about making a little more scratch, a little more fiat, cut bucks. You're a little too concerned about that, about being, VC going to VC, like I said in the beginning. You know the answer. You know the answer, brother. You just don't want to. You just don't want it because playing on an equal playing field scares the grifters and the rent seekers and the VCs, the Janet Yellens, the Joe Bidens, the George Bushes, the Obamas, the people, when they don't have their advantage, they don't have their family or their affirmative action or whatever it is, they don't have someone else giving them, putting their toe in the scale for them, they're scared. They're very scared. So these people do not want an equal playing field. They don't want Bitcoins. They don't want an equal playing field. They want a system that they can control, that they can manipulate, and always have a little toe in the scale. So that way you can't get ahead, and they always control and contain and preserve their power. This fraud is wondering how do we get this done. Like I said, Chamath, the answer's here. The answer's clear. And I guarantee you know it. I guarantee you have a big bag of Bitcoin, don't you? I guarantee you do. Well, if he wasn't so busy using his information asymmetry, again, the information asymmetry is just your knowledge of the markets and what's going on and the knowledge of tech and startups and the VC and all this back end that he knows that the average person doesn't have time to do because they're too busy trying to just go to work and spend time with their family. Well, if you weren't too busy using that information asymmetry to exploit people who don't have the connections and privilege you do, Chamath, then he would know that Bitcoin is discovered for exactly this time we live in. And here we go. I'll finish with a Satoshi quote. The root problem with conventional currency, fiat currency, is all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result is still insanity. Stay strong. Please, 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 please share this out. I beg of you. We are at the time that try men's souls. Freedom is only one heartbeat away from being lost in liberty and free markets. We are right there. And we have history to tell us this. It's not me. Do your own homework. Do your own research. This is not me saying this. I feel it. I feel it. I've felt it for decades now. This is why I've been studying, preparing for these times. So I'm begging you to please go do the same. Please share it out. The algorithm hates truth. Time is Bitcoin and Bitcoin is time. Make the fair trade for yourself. This is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. So I thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. I look forward to seeing you on the next one.